So, how is the extended lockdown impacting the mental health of young students? Joining me now live is child and adolescent psychologist Dr. Michael Carr-Gregg. Doctor, thank you for joining me this afternoon. Firstly, what is the psychological cost?
Well, it's immense. We're seeing levels of depression, anxiety, and deliberate self-harm, substance abuse on a scale I've never seen before in my career. And the level of disconnection from school, young people just dropping out, it's horrendous.
And at what point does this novelty wear off and that realisation of the difficulty of remote learning actually kick in?
Well, it's ironic because for a very small proportion of young people, they've actually enjoyed remote learning, but the vast majority don't. And some have already given up. And I think the impact of this will be seen in about a year and a half's time. You can't vaccinate this stuff away. This is huge.
No, you can't. And given that this is such an ongoing issue, and the Premier in her press conference, Gladys Berejiklian, indicated just then that they still haven't made a decision on when face-to-face learning should go back, is it a time now where schools should be considered as essential services?
Oh, absolutely. If we don't prioritise education, what's more important than that? I mean, if we could vaccinate all willing teachers, if we could close schools on a case-by-case basis, so if a school in my state of Victoria closes in Ballarat, doesn't mean that all the schools in Mildura have to close. We need to listen to the educators, the mental health experts, and we have to make sure that we put on the masks, we hand sanitize, and we socially distance, but keep schools going at all costs.
What about the impact on parents here? They're almost forgotten, but they're the ones at home that they're trying to work from home, but they're also trying to homeschool. How challenging is that?
Well, it's incredibly hard. If you've got, for example, young kids in primary school, plus young people who are doing secondary, let alone the ones doing year 11 and 12, and managing your own job, I think it's almost an impossible request. Many families have said to me that on this particular occasion, they're waving the white flag. They've done enough. You have to remember that in my state of Victoria, this is our 5th lockdown. And both the young people and the parents are well and truly over it. The people who are benefiting most are the video game manufacturers. They're doing a fantastic job out of this, but no one else is.
Yeah, video game manufacturers and all the electronics. Doctor, I want to ask you about the long-term implications of loneliness. Right now in Greater Sydney, the state doesn't have what's called a singles bubble like we've seen in Victoria, for example, and South Australia during this lockdown, where people are living by themselves and they can't nominate a person who is also living alone to visit. What are the long-term harms of being so isolated and no human contact for what could be an extended period of time?
Well, we are social animals. We need other people to connect, and study after study has shown that loneliness is as bad for our physical well-being as not eating the right things, not exercising, and smoking. So this is a catastrophe. Back in 2018, the British government appointed a minister for loneliness, and they're doing amazing things in Japan. They've just done the same thing. We seriously need to consider a ministry which focuses on this in both states and in federal government.
Dr. Michael Carr-Gregg, we have to leave it there. Thank you for joining me this afternoon.
Pleasure.